Hi, guys. It's Sarah. I am back today with a really special guest. I've been speaking with Alessandra for a few months now, and I'm so honored that she gave me this opportunity to interview her on the podcast. Alessandra, thank you so much for joining today.
Thank you for inviting me very much.
It's so wonderful to be able to share your story. It's such a unique story as well. Do you mind starting as far back as you want to and letting people know who you are and what you've accomplished?
Okay. So I was born in Italy, in Milano, Italy, and I always was attracted to horses since I was 3 years old, because my grandmother brought me to something with horses, and she put me on a little pony. And I told my dad, Dad, I want to ride. And he told me, no, not until you're 11. I had to wait until 11. And then on my birthday, he took me to do the first lesson. Yeah. And it was a really good one because I was in a place where it was good. But I was able to do jumping because in Italy, that was the most common thing to do. Mhm. And I did it until I was 16. And then at 16, my dad said, no more. And he had no idea because at this point, I took my pictures to a photographer who have them developed. And he saw me crying. And he told, Alessandra, why are you crying? Your pictures are gorgeous.
Yeah.
Setting very well. And I told him, well, my dad told me this is the last. And guess what he did? He was a racetrack professional photographer. And he told me, I'm going to take you to the racetrack so you can work. And I was like, whoa.
Wow. The
But you
dream
know
come
what?
true.
Yeah, but you know what? He took me to a person that was an amazing person because he was the jockey of Ribot. Ribot was an undefeated horse. He won every single race he did, even the Arc de Triomphe twice.
Wow.
And the guy, he was an older guy, and he told me, Alessandra, you can start by grooming horses and by holding them. And then he put me on a horse. And then he told me, Alessandra, I'm going to teach you how to gallop. I was like, wow, I did it. And
And you're
now,
16 on a racehorse.
yes.
Mhm.
And then what happened was amazing because Enrico was a very, very good person. He had a son that was also a trainer, and he had a daughter that was a rider in racing. And I got a professional license when I was 18. And he told me, Alessandra, you're studying veterinary medicine. And I said to him, yes. And he said to me, you cannot be a veterinarian and a jockey. So take an amateur license. And we told him, Enrico, I have not a single penny. I have no money. My dad told me I can't ride anymore. And he told me, the way you ride, people give you the wrong horses to race. Guess what? I told him, well, what should I do? And he said to me, give back your professional license and take an amateur license so that you will be better. Because going to university is hard. In Italy, you have to go there almost every day, every single day. So I did it, and it was true because he had also a trainer that worked for him. His name was Alain Kerberiou, and he was a French guy. And he told me, Alessandra, I need you to help me train my horses. And because I can't pay, and I told him, okay. And he told me, I will have you race. Yay. So one of the horses was amazing because he wanted company. And the guy gave him a bunny, a white bunny, and he put it in the stall. And guess what happened? The bunny was sleeping on the chest of the horse, and the horse wouldn't move until the bunny was in a safe spot. And the
My
bunny was sitting in the stall. And the horse was always perfect with the bunny.
Was this a gelding or a mare?
No, this was a stallion.
A stallion?
A stallion.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
amazing. How gentle.
he was amazing. His name was Caburrum, and he was the first horse that I won um, in Pisa. And then, I mean, I just had the dreams of my life that became true because after I worked for Alain, I was also working for Enrico. And then I worked for many other people like Dauria like De Chirico, other Italian trainers, and all of them were very impressed. And I was going there before I went to school early.
That's awesome.
And then a Saturday and Sunday, I was there all day long.
Mm.
And it was, I mean, it was awesome until something terrible happened because I rode for a person that wasn't honest. And he put me on first on a crazy horse that I came in third. And after the finish line, the horse turned backwards and threw me. And I didn't even know. I broke my back. But I didn't even know. I kept going. I kept riding. I kept going. And that was to me incredible. And after 3 months, because that was in November, in March, I rode him again for the same person. The problem was that during the middle of the race, during the left-hand turn, the horse turned backwards right, and I had 14 behind me. So I got broken in smithereens because I broke my collarbone, my sternum, my back again, and 2 legs. And
Gosh, catastrophic.
it was terrible. But my spinal cord canal, it's different. It's twice as big as normal. And when they took me back to Milano, my dad was a doctor, and he took an X-ray. He was pissed because he found the previous broken vertebrae. He told me, "Why did you tell me?" And I told him, "I didn't know."
Yeah.
Okay. So after that, it took me a while because they put me in 4 different casts to straighten my back. And they didn't do a surgery because it was a very comminute fracture. So they told me there is no way we can do anything for that.
Yeah.
So I healed, and a friend of mine that was a Swedish girl told me, "Alessandra, I'm going to give you a reason to start walking again." And she told me, "I'm going to California this summer. If you walk, you're coming with me," because my other friends weren't coming with me. And she told me, "I'm going to take you." And I'm like, okay.
That's a good incentive. Being in
So
Italy, you want to go to California.
I know it was amazing. And when I came here, while I was on the beach, I met a guy that became her husband.
Wow. And
It
what
was,
what age were you when you broke your back and all that?
I was 28.
Okay. Okay. So it's a good age to meet your husband. Okay.
It is. And we got married in 1994. And that was when we met in 92. And it was amazing because he met me, and we just started to basically get together as much as we could all the time. And then we got married, and we have 3 kids. And
Wow.
I have 2 boys and a girl, and they're giants because I'm the little tiny one in the family.
Yeah.
They are tall because the dad is tall. And I mean, the boys are huge, and
That's
not
funny.
just, but very, very, very well made. And my daughter is she's very tall. She's very tall. She's almost 6 foot tall.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you're a jockey, so you're quite small.
I am a 5'1.5".
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, I came here, and I kept finishing my degree in veterinary medicine
Oh, good.
because I finished in 96.
Okay.
And it took me a while. And then when I came here, I did everything because one of the racehorses that I won with, his name was Maslogart. He was like a person with me. He would walk next to me with no halter, no bridle, no rope, nothing. I was walking with a friend. I was even able to wash him and take him back. And I studied that behavior because being a veterinarian, you learn the behavior. And I put together a way to interact with horses out of an instinctual interaction through movement. You know, so many people think, they say, send them mental waves, send them this. And that to me is not work because a horse is a horse. A horse understands movement and perceives it through the sensory perception. It could be sight, or it could be hearing, or it could be touch. Because when you're on the horse, they cannot see you.
Right.
They can hear you, and you can touch them, and they can react to your touch.
Yes.
So I found 5 social concepts. One is coexistence, so you can be in the same space.
Mhm.
One is trust. So for us human beings, it has so many different meanings. But for the horses, there is only one. If they let you approach, they trust you. If they don't, no.
Okay.
Then there is, you ask for territory, and you can ask by getting over it with your hand or with something. And if the horse understands you and basically considers you as a leader, then you get it. And then there is another one that is very important. When you are behind a horse, you're herding him.
Mhm.
You can do it by how you behave.
Mhm.
And that's the fourth. And then the last one is attention, which is a very, very important thing because the horse is a prey. And the horse is always attentive to anything that happens around them.
Yeah.
Some people think, oh, I'm on the horse and I'm just going to make him do what I want. That's not true. Because horse becomes attentive to something, then they're not going to respond to your little cue
Mhm.
because something caught their attention.
Yeah.
So I found also there is I used a cardiac monitor because if the horse becomes attentive, the cardiac frequency
Heart
becomes
rate goes up.
no,
Oh.
becomes level
Oh.
if it becomes attentive because he is paying attention to something. Instead, when the horse becomes anxious, that skyrockets up.
Okay. Okay. It's a difference. Yeah.
It is a big, big difference. Some people, with my horses, I could go into a Starbucks coffee. I could go into a car dealership and go check for my car. I was going to Lowe's.
With your horse?
Yeah. I was going into Chick-fil-A.
Really?
Yeah, I could have gone anywhere and everywhere because my horses were never pushed.
Mm.
There is another big deal. There is a person named Joseph Ledoux. He wrote an amazing book called The Emotional Brain.
Mm.
And he explains why you should never use force and fear
Yeah.
with animals and with people.
Yeah.
Because also with people, yes, you can talk, but with animals, you can't. And when they build a memory about you and some fear and some force, it becomes a problem because the horse doesn't really want you around them.
Yeah.
And that's when you approach a horse. If you keep approaching and they step back, you are telling them, I don't care how you feel. Instead, if you stop, the horse understands that you understand this problem. And that after you stop many, many times, what happens is that they let you approach
Mm.
because they see that you understood that they stepped back and you are basically the horse was telling you, please don't come close to me. And
Do you
if you,
mind if I pause right there and ask a
yes,
question?
yes,
Okay. This I love what you're saying, but it's almost contrary to what I was taught when I was younger that like as an example, I'm putting fly spray on my horse. If he's walking away from me, I would have been taught to keep on walking until he stops and then release the pressure.
I know. That's because most of the people are trainers and they condition the horse and they train the horse. But when the horse becomes attentive to something else, it doesn't work.
Okay.
And sometimes they also use rewards like food or treats or whatever. But that sometimes could be a problem because in the horse's hierarchy in a herd, there is a hierarchy based on, so the higher ranking horses eat first.
Right.
Then they stop eating and they watch for all the other horses. And that is one of the big deals in a herd of horses. So if you surrender food to a horse, they can consider you a lower ranking. And that's not a good,
Interesting.
that's not a good thing because
Yeah.
it's not. But sometimes I use food have the interest of the horse to do something like when I teach him to play ball.
Mhm.
So what I do is I put a little bowl with some carrots in it and I put the ball on the bowl. And what happens is I basically show the horse what's under the ball and the horse wants it. So when I step away, the horse pushes the ball. And once they learn, because the ball is something that moves
Yeah.
and it can be something scary for a horse.
Right.
But when they learn that if they move the ball, they can have the carrot, then after they see that the ball doesn't do anything to them.
Mm.
So they always do. I had a horse that was a racehorse, ex-racehorse. It was crazy. They gave her to me because they couldn't even get on her anymore. Guess what happened?
Puppy
After I
dog.
worked, guess what? After I worked, she was able to be ridden with no saddle, no bridle, and play soccer. Maybe I'll send you the
Wow.
video later. She was
Yes, I
an
would
amazing
love to
horse.
see that. That's
I,
incredible.
I did endurance with her. I did everything. I did the
Wow.
dressage. When I came to this country, my dreams came true because at first I was working at Liberty because I was trying to get back to being able to ride.
Yeah.
Then I started to do dressage. And that was something that for me was new because when you're a racehorse,
Yeah.
right,
Totally different.
you don't use the very strong, not strong, but very precise int that you give to the horse
Mm-hmm.
with your touch.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had to learn them. So I did dressage, and then I met a guy that did endurance.
Ooh,
And
fun.
and the guy was amazing because he had stallions. And he told me, I know you know how to ride stallions because you were a jockey. And I told him, well, yes. So I taken my stallions to endurance rides. I did, my first ride was a 50 miler, and I did it with a stallion, and I was so happy. But at the end, I was very, very tired because
Yeah.
50 miles
Yeah.
is a long ride.
Yeah.
And then I basically loved it. So I started to train my horses to become endurance horses.
Wow.
I even won in the Death Valley with one of them. I had that horse since birth,
Wow.
and she was amazing. And they were amazing horses because they were Manga Larga Machadors. I don't know if you know about this breed.
I was going to ask you what breed you were doing the endurance racing with. Did you meet the breed around the same time that you met the guy who's doing endurance?
Kind of. And
Okay.
because I had a client that had one leg, and he told me, I want to skip me an Arabian. And I told him, no, because if you ride an Arabian for hours and hours, you're going to have a problem because you have to post
Yeah.
when you
Yeah.
do endurance. Instead, I told him, I'm going to find you a gaited horse, but not some of the gaited horses that are here that people have to teach them to gait.
Right. Right.
I found
Naturally.
this because a person told me, saw how you work, so I want you to come to my ranch. And I fell in love with this breed because you sit on and they have two gaits. One is called picada and the other one is called batida.
Mm-hmm.
And the picada is a modified walk and the batida is a modified trot. But they
Okay.
always have a foot on the ground. They always do. Their feet on the ground are 2-3, 2-3, 2-3. And I fell in love with this breed, and the guy bought two of them.
Wow. So, question, did you meet this breed in the United States or did you have to go to Brazil?
No. I met it here.
Okay. Okay.
In the United States, there is only 330.
Okay.
And
And
I
were they
had
in
to,
California?
yeah,
Okay.
in Riverside.
Good. Oh, good. Okay, good.
And
I only know about some in Florida, so that's interesting to know that they also have them out there.
yeah, that is Claudia Nebelandi.
Oh, she was in California at the. Oh, you're talking about
No,
the
no, no,
Florida.
no, 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 no,
Yeah.
no, no.
Yeah.
That is in Florida.
Correct. Yes.
Here,
Yes.
it was called the Rancho de los Cielos.
Oh,
And
in Riverside.
yeah, and I worked for them. And at a certain point, they told me, Alessandra, we are adding up your money and we're going to give you a horse. And this horse was born. I saw her being born
Oh.
and I got her. And I tell you, she was amazing because after I had her for 2 months, I broke her to ride and she didn't even fudge. She
Yeah.
didn't even do anything. I got on her and she was perfect. And then I did the dressage after 2 months under saddle. And then I did endurance and I won with her the third ride.
Did you have to wait till she was 4 to start riding her, or can you ride
No. I ride her at 3. I
at
rode her at
3?
3.
Okay, good to know.
Then when she turned 4, we started to do endurance and we did parades.
Mm,
We did everything because also my students were coming into parades with me.
yeah.
And they were not because they were held by the rope or no, it's because of the horses. And they learned that this breed is a little different. And
Yeah.
one of them bought some. Tell you, I always had the dreams of my life. They became true because I did dressage, I even did polo, I did mounted archery, I
That's
did
incredible.
something. I did everything after being a jockey.
Wow.
And And then I even started to jumping again, but not very much because I was always watchful for my back because
Sure.
I have to be careful.
Did
And
you do all these different modalities on the Manga Larga Marchador?
yes,
Oh,
yes,
that's so
absolutely.
awesome.
I mean, as I told you, my horses were able to even go to political rallies in
Wow.
between people and start standing at a light and having a sign that says hung for such and such. And guess what? They were just like people, and people were like, how can you do that? And I told them, well, it's the way that I interact with them.
Yeah.
And they were always like that. And then taking kids to parades. I had a 9-year-old girl, and she came with me in parades. She even rode one of the Frisian horses that I had in training, that I started from ground zero. And she rode this Frisian horse,
That's so
walk,
cool.
trot, canter,
Yeah.
anything. The only problem was that after that, the owner gave it in the hands of an idiot, and the person. And when the horse gets scared, what happens is that if a person is in the same area where she was scared, she will attack them because she was a very dominant horse.
Okay.
So after that, I just stopped working for that person because
Yeah.
I don't want to get, I mean, with what I have that is already so serious,
You
I'm trying
can't
to keep
chance it.
positive. I am trying to keep positive. I'm trying to keep moving. I do walk about 2 miles every day.
Back up for the audience. So the audience just knows that you broke your back and all those bones years earlier, but do you mind sharing what you're dealing with now?
Nothing. I'm dealing with the ALS because I think it was due to the COVID vaccine, but I cannot be, I cannot
There's
argue with
no
the
way to
doctor.
prove it, but it happened within how many months after you got the shot?
You know what? It happened pretty close to a couple of months.
Couple of months later, boom, she has ALS. I mean,
Yeah. But
and you were pretty sleeping healthy.
the thing is started with problems with my hands, and that's why I have a problem with. But then I can still walk, I can still do things. I try to do anything I need to do, and that's, I mean, that's who I am. I'm trying because
Yes.
to me, if you don't try, it's a problem.
Yes.
So I try to do everything I can, and I wanted to. I'm praying that God will let me live some years so then maybe I'll see my kids married and
Yeah.
with my grandchildren. I would love it. But you know what? You never know. So we
Yeah.
have to take what God gives us and do the best we can.
Yes.
In fact,
And
I appreciate every step I take. I appreciate everything I do.
yes. And that's one thing I wanted to make sure that you highlighted for anybody watching that maybe has the ALS diagnosis. Alessandra is incredibly positive despite how drastically it has changed her life. Can you share with them how you, in addition to being positive, like what you told me on the phone earlier, what you do to kind of recenter yourself?
Well, what we have to do is we have to learn what ALS is. So do search. Then we have to eat healthy. And I cannot put on weight because of my back. So I'm eating a lot of salads, but I'm eating with meat, with fish, with all proteins that I need because I
Yeah.
need them.
Yep.
And then also, as I said, some people would just keep their horse in a little pen, but I would never do that. I had to sell them. The president of the Mangalaga Mashador Association bought them all because
Okay.
she said my horses were very athletic and she wanted them.
Okay.
So I just have to be realistic and not crazy. And I am basically doing anything I need to do. I'm writing for Elite Equestrian still. I'm writing for another magazine in Italy.
Yeah.
I wrote a book that is being published on Amazon called Horse Sensing Horsemanship. And then a company in Italy bought it, used it with their horses, and called me and said to me, you have to translate it in Italian because your method of working works. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So I did it, and it got published in Italy too. And I'm very happy because that's my country when I was born. But, when you go to another country, you have to live according to the culture
Yeah.
and the people and where you are. And I tell you, California spoiled me because it's beautiful.
It
It's
is.
just absolutely beautiful. And we live on top of a mountain.
Nice.
And we see all the way to the ocean, but today we cannot see because it's cloudy and
Hazy.
hazy, and so there is no way.
Yeah.
And then, I've seen rattlesnakes with horses. I've seen puma.
Wow.
I've seen, yeah, in an endurance ride. He was looking up on the side, and I saw basically a mountain lion
Hmm.
that was looking at me. And guess what? I took off. I took off at the gallop because I didn't want to get
Yeah.
myself into a problem.
Yeah.
And I was able to do it. And then, we can even see black widows or whatever.
Mhm.
So this is a very different country than Italy, because in Italy, people live there for many, many thousands of years.
Mhm.
While here, there is still some nature still.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I have to be realistic and not crazy. So
Mhm.
that's the only way. And I just loved when I was able to ride my horses anywhere and everywhere, between cars, trucks, motorcycles, anything. They were amazing.
And you attribute that partially to the amazing breed because they're a unique kind of horse, but then you also attribute it to your human sensing technique,
Human horse sensing.
human horse sensing technique. Okay.
Yeah, because I describe everything in my book, and I teach people how to have a horse overcome a problem
Love it.
without having to beat him up. Because many people say, okay, whip him, whip him. And I'm
Mhm.
like, when I was racing, actually, that was one of the problems, because many people were beating the horses up to win,
Yeah.
but not me.
It's not
Not
necessary if they love you and trust you.
not just that, but also the way you move yourself, and you go with the horse, with your body, and basically help them make their steps bigger.
Yeah. Okay.
Then you can win. If you just beat them up, sometime they actually slow down.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense. What animal? I've always thought when I'm watching racing, I'm like, why are they whipping that horse? It already wants to win. It already wants to run. They loves it,
Yeah,
apparently. So they don't need to be whipped in addition to what they're already doing.
yeah, exactly, exactly. No, it was a very, very neat thing for me to do racing, because basically it was my only chance to ride at that time, because my dad told me you can't ride anymore, and he took away all the money. He told
Oh,
me you get nothing, and I'm like, okay.
I'm gonna find a way, and you found a way.
I did. I was very lucky to meet Enrico Camici,
Yeah.
and his also his son and his daughter, and they were great people.
My goodness. That's
Yeah.
yeah, what an incredible life.
I,
And now, even though you sold your horses because you had to with the ALS, now you're still maintaining horse involvement because you write for these magazines.
yeah.
Say which ones they are again.
Elite Equestrian from Ocala, Florida.
Okay.
And then the other one is called Informa, and it's connected to something called Il Portale del Cavallo in Italy.
Wow.
And before I also wrote for Cavallo magazine, Il Mio Cavallo, and other magazines here, because as soon as they found my articles, they called me and they said, well, can you write for us too? And I'm like, okay, let's try. I mean,
That's
as I said, I had the dreams of my life that became true until October last year.
just a
But
year
you know
ago.
what? I'm still praying for a miracle, but you never know, because we just have to be realistic and not crazy.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah. Stay positive, stay hopeful, pray for the miracle, but be realistic. Okay.
And I'm turning 60 this year. People don't believe me. They told me, well, maybe you are in your late 30s, early 40s. And I'm
No,
like,
you
no, I wish.
did you
I'm
say
60
turning 60? Wow. Yeah, no, I would not have guessed that. That's amazing.
in December. December.
Wow.
And
Wow.
then it's been 30 years since I've been married. So
Yeah.
it's really, I mean, as I said, I had the dreams of my life that became true until,
Yeah. Yeah.
but you know what? We just have to take what God gives us and do the best we can.
What motivates you these days? Is it the writing the articles? Do you want to write another book? What feeds your soul and your spirit and your heart these days that you live?
Well, it is my husband, my kid, the love of horses. And as I said, I'm trying to keep positive and not negative, and
Yes.
trying to go. That's the only way.
Okay. But you love horses, but you don't have any anymore.
No.
Are you able to get out and go visit horses, or how do you fuel that desire?
Okay. I can. right now because I don't have those frictions anymore in training. And when you have something like what I have, you can't run away.
Yeah.
You can't move fast. So you have to be realistic. And
Okay.
sometime I will go to the breeding farm in Rancho de los Cielos. I would love to go see other horses of my friends, but I'm not going to be putting myself into
In
danger.
danger. Yeah.
Not just that, but also I don't want to endanger the people and the horses.
Sure.
So, I
Okay.
mean, I just have to pray for a miracle
Yeah.
that this thing maybe go away because some people say that since I think it's due to the COVID vaccine, but I don't know. I
Yeah.
cannot argue. I just have to be realistic and not crazy. And so I'm going to keep positive and try to do the best I can and keep on to do what I can.
How can people support you? By buying your book? What do you need that whoever's watching this video that maybe resonates with you and is like, I love Alessandra.
They
What
can
can we
call
do?
me. I can do lessons online. I can teach. I have a course of 10 lessons to
Oh,
teach what I wrote in my book. I used to do it all the time.
okay.
And that's the only way I can teach now
Okay.
by word. And if anybody has a question, they can call me. I'm fine because I have so much time on my hands now. It's not even funny.
Oh,
And I also have my phone in my pocket all the time because it's
okay.
the only way to be safe.
Okay. So let me make sure I understand. So what is the website called where they can go purchase the course?
It's on Amazon.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, 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 wait. That's a book. But they
Okay.
can find my contact on hhsensing.com.
Okay. hhsensing.com.
Sensing.
And then they can purchase a course and they can, if they have questions during the course, is it like videos, a video course?
Yes, we do a course on video, but it's all by words. And if they have any questions, they can always call me.
Okay.
Because if someone is in my course, I will never tell them, oh, you have to come here. No, I will always respond to their questions, to
Right.
respond to whatever they need.
Okay.
To me, it's very important because when you're a teacher, if you don't give the people what they need, it's a problem.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so this course that they are purchasing helps helps them know how to interact with their horse using the HH sensing technique.
Yeah, because it is instinctual. It is a relationship that is a spontaneous relationship.
Okay.
Instead of having to train a horse, when you understand their behavior and you don't have to train them, it's much easier. You can even use it to train them later.
Mhm.
But it's still, I mean, it's a way that I found that was thanks to that racehorse that offered me, and the other one with the one with the bunny.
Yeah.
I mean, it was amazing, and so I just learned things from them and basically used them on other horses. Because when I was doing clinics, I would go anywhere and everywhere,
Mhm.
and I would use whatever horse they gave me. They told me, "Oh, do you need to bring your horses?" And I said, "No, it is working with horses in a way that it is instinctual to them."
No matter what horse.
No matter what horse, exactly, because it is something based on the horse behavior.
Mhm.
And once you learn that, then it is much easier to understand a horse and much easier to have him understand you.
Mm. This is making me think about those Mustang challenges where they round up the Mustangs and then
I know,
they train them in like 60 days or something.
I know.
Imagine somebody that uses your technique.
It would be easier for them because the Mustang understands. And when we understand what they understand, it
Right.
is easier.
Just
And
like
now
you
I'm
can know.
telling you, there is probably more and more and more, but I didn't go further now.
Yeah.
I can,
Yeah.
but I'm sure that someone else will find it. But this is not that you have to give them the games or the rituals or whatever. It is basically based on the movement and the perception of the movement through the sensory perception and through those social concepts that I told you. And it just works. It really works. I mean, even little kids. I had little kids that were able to even trim my horses. Can you believe it?
It's really
Their
cool.
parents were, and I actually was trimming my horses. My horses had no shoes,
Mhm.
none. And I was trimming them by myself for about 20 years.
Wow. Okay. So Would this technique help me to be able to get on my horse with no bridle, no saddle, and communicate and actually ride bridleless?
It depends, because it depends upon the relationship that you first establish from the ground, on the ground. And then, as I said, when a horse has had training, sometime they have some things that are a problem for them.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. It's when the horse has a problem with you, they will, when you show up, they will remember whatever problem.
Okay. Got it. So
And
you'd have to overcome some trust issues.
yes, and as I told you, the trust. If you get in the same area and you approach a horse, if the horse stands still and let you touch their nose and go as close as you can, that's trust from the horse. If you also let the horse approach you, you're telling the horse you trust them. But can you trust any horse? Not really. Some horses will interact with you like they would interact with another horse, because they would kick another horse, they would bite another horse, and we can't afford to do that. That's why I did what I did, because I wanted the horses to have an interaction that was spontaneous and also something they understood.
Yeah.
And instead, if they don't, is a problem. And we just have to be present and realistic. And I have on my YouTube channel with Alessandra Deerinck, I have a lot of videos and shows the interaction on the ground, in the saddle, and everything.
Okay. I love it. I love it. Yes, please tell everybody what your YouTube channel is.
It's called Alessandra Deerinck. Alessandra Deerinck, my name, my first name, first and last name, or Human Horse Sensing.
Okay. Okay, good. So if they don't know how to spell your name, I'll put it up on the video later, but they can at least go to Human Horse Sensing, search that in YouTube, and they'll see your channel.
Yeah, or HH Sensing. That just has it. I mean, and I tell you, I had the dreams of my life that became true until October, but I'm trying to keep positive, and I'm trying to keep going, and praying that God will let me keep walking. And I
Yeah.
appreciate every step I take and everything I do,
I think
because
that's
it's
the key.
important. It's
That's the
important.
key. You don't slow down. You continue to learn and write, and you're continuing to live your life. You're not giving up, and you also are overflowing with gratitude and appreciation and positivity.
Yes,
And that's
yes.
going to
Well,
keep you healthy longer than if you were the opposite.
I hope. I hope.
I'm
I
sure.
mean, anyway, it was great to be here with you, because
Well,
to me, telling my story is something that really makes me feel good.
yes. Well, and hearing your story, and to everybody that watches this, Alessandra basically welcomes us to interact with her. So you horse lovers out there, she is a wealth of knowledge and wisdom and experience, a lifetime with horses in all these different modalities, from being a jockey with
Yeah.
stallions to an exotic specialty breed, Manga Larga Marchadors, to archery, to polo. I mean, on and on. Endurance riding. You must have so much wisdom to share. And so, like, how often does somebody meet somebody like you?
I
That's
don't
a phone call away.
I don't know. But I was so glad, and I was so lucky to meet Enrico Camici, to meet all the other people that I met. So it
Yeah. Oh,
was
so
all
you're
good.
you're paying you're paying it forward. Yes. Well, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you so very much for spending the time with us today. And it, what I love about this is this video is going to be on YouTube forever, so people are going to get to know your story,
Very
and
good.
it's very inspirational.
And they can always contact me, and you can too.
Okay, that sounds good. So how can they contact you? Through the website? Would that be the best way? And then if you make a connection, you can give your phone number then.
Yeah, in the website there is my phone number.
It is. Okay, perfect. Beautiful. Okay, sounds good,
Okay.
everybody. Well, thank you so much, Alessandra. I hope you have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Sarah.
Bye.
Bye. I can show you the painting.
Nice.
Hey, I did it.
Oh, that's so
And that
beautiful.
was me winning.
My gosh, that is so
And
cool. Look
those
at
are my
you.
cups. And
So
then
cool.
here,
Oh, this is great.
and then here is more.
My goodness. And this is from Italy?
Yeah, this is from Italy.
Wow. That's so
Yeah.
neat. What a
And then,
beautiful.
I also have been on the cover of a magazine.
Yeah. My goodness. Yeah. Elite equestrian.
Elite question. I wrote for them since 2013. And then, okay, so I show you my book.
Yes. Yes. Oh, you've accomplished so much, Alessandra.
And this is the Italian version.
Love it. Oh my
So
goodness.
anyway, whatever we want to do and whatever questions you have. And I also have a lot of pictures of me. This is winning.
The camera just went off. There's back. Okay, it's back. Point it downward a little bit. Okay, I see. Oh, nice. Wow.
This is me training in the morning.
My gosh. That's incredible.
And then me winning again. Oh, see, sorry.
It's okay.
I'm sorry, but my hands don't work sometimes.
It's okay. You take your time. No worries.
You see it?
Not yet. The camera's not on yet for
Okay,
some
hold on.
reason. Okay, now it's back. Wow. Look
This
at
is
you.
me in red and green.
My
And
goodness.
behind me, there is a very famous other jockey in there. And there is more.
And let me make sure I understood. You were perfectly healthy until COVID era and you took the shot?
Oh, yes, until I took the shot, and I was fine for a while, but then they diagnosed me in October. And then I also had a second opinion because with something this serious, you can't just let them say, okay, you have
Right.
and I got nothing of it. For
Yeah.
me, I know. And, if there is a cure for this thing, I would go to the doctor, I would do best. But there is none, zero.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
and I don't want to be an experimental mouse.
Sure.